Stop waiting, no one is coming. You've been waiting for the right time, waiting for something to change, waiting for someone to save you. But here's the truth, no one is coming. No one is going to rescue you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream of. The life you want, it's not given. It's built day by day, decision by decision. And it begins the moment you stop waiting and start choosing. This is the line in the sand between who you've been and who you're about to become. This is war, a war against your excuses, a war against your weaknesses, a war against the limits you've accepted as truth. Watch, right now, the switch flips. Right now, you decide. Become unstoppable or stay exactly where you are. Part 2. The wake-up call. In just a few moments, you'll learn how to forge a mindset so sharp it can permanently change your life. But first, the wake-up call. Life doesn't weep. Most people are drifting, living each day the same as the one before. They wake up, go through the motions, fill the hours with distractions, busy but not growing, active but not advancing. Deep down, they feel it, a quiet voice that whispers, "I was meant for more." They sense a life unlived inside them. But still they wait. They wait for the perfect time. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for a sign, a push, a helping hand, anything but themselves. But here's the truth, whether you're ready to hear it or not. No one is coming. Not to save you. Not to push you. Not to build your life for you. And the moment you finally accept that fully and deeply, that's when everything begins to change. Because once you stop waiting, you start moving. Once you stop hoping, you start building. Life does not slow down for hesitation. It doesn't pause for doubt. The days pass, whether you act or not. And while you hesitate, opportunities fade. While you stall, your window begins to close. Most people don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they never truly started. Part 3. Decide or stay stuck. Look around. There are 2 kinds of people in this world. I'm those who wait and those who decide. The ones who take control say, if it's going to happen, it's up to me. That single mindset shift from victim to creator is the dividing line between the life you have and the life you want. Here's the harsh truth. You are not stuck. You've never been stuck. You've simply been trapped in your own patterns. Patterns of hesitation. Patterns of avoidance. Patterns of comfort that feel safe but keep you small. This is your moment. Welcome your wake-up call. Not tomorrow. Not next week. No. Because if you don't choose to wake up on your own terms, life will eventually do it for you. And life's wake-up calls aren't gentle. They come as regret, failure shut, as disappointment, as the sinking feeling that you let time slip through your hands. But you don't have to wait for that pain. You can decide, right here, right now, I will no longer wait for permission. I will no longer wait for perfect conditions. I move, I act, I take control. And when you make that decision, fully and without negotiation, the world begins to shift. Obstacles won't disappear, but you'll stop shrinking before then. You'll stop being at the mercy of life and become the one who bends life to your will. Part 4. Victim or creator. You choose. There are only 2 ways to live, as a victim of life or as the creator of it. Most people live as victims. They won't say it out loud, but their actions reveal the truth. quiet resignation, silent blame, constant complaints disguised as reasons. It's not my fault. It's too late. If only things were different. These are the whispers of the defeated. But here's what most will never admit. As long as you believe life is happening to you, you'll never have control. You'll remain a passenger, tossed around by circumstances, pushed and pulled by other people's decisions, waiting, hoping, surviving. The most dangerous lie you've ever been told is this: life owes you something, that if you wait long enough, if you're patient enough, somehow things will work out. False. Life does not reward the passive. It does not honor the hesitant. It has no sympathy for those who wait. Every person who has ever built something great, freedom, legacy, had to make one defining choice. I refuse to be a victim. From this moment forward, I am the one who creates. I am the one who decides. That's the mental shift that changes everything. Part 5. From powerless to powerful. The moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What can I do about it?" you move from powerless to powerful, from trapped to free. But understand this: no one gets through life without pain, without setbacks, without loss or failure. But the difference is simple. Victims see hardship and say, "This isn't fair." Creators see the same hardship and say, "Good, let's figure it out." You will never control the wind, but you can always adjust the sail. You cannot stop the storm, but you can become the one who weathers it better than anyone. There is a line in the sand. On one side, the complainers, the excuse makers, the ones waiting for rescue. On the other, the builders, the warriors, the disciplined few who understand this truth. Everything changes when you change. You've been given a mind, a will, 2 hands, and a body. That's all you need. From this moment on, stop asking for life to be easier. Start asking to be stronger. It doesn't matter how you got here. What matters is that you decide, right now, to take back control, to stop being a victim of your circumstances, your upbringing, your luck, or anything outside yourself. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by moving, by building, by becoming the kind of person who commands life. It's not the one who waits for permission. The creator doesn't ask. The creator takes. Part 6. The power of extreme ownership. Nothing changes until you do. There comes a moment in every person's life when they are faced with an unforgiving truth. A truth so sharp, so undeniable. It splits reality wide open. And that truth is this: everything in your life, every result, every failure, every triumph, every regret is yours. Fully, completely, no exceptions. The world has conditioned you to believe otherwise. It's easy to point the finger at the family you were born into, the circumstances you couldn't control, the unfair breaks, the betrayals, the missed chances. That's what most people do. They build their entire identity around the story of why it's not their fault, why they are the way they are, why it makes sense to stay stuck, to stay small, to stay average. But there is another path, a harder one, a narrower one, the path of ownership. Ruthless, absolute ownership. Not partial, not selective, not only when it feels good. Ownership of everything. Ownership of every choice you've made. Every time you said yes when you should have said no. Every hour you wasted. Every excuse you out. Every standard you lowered. Until you grab hold of that truth, nothing in your life will change. You can read every book. You can listen to every podcast. You can gather all the advice in the world. But none of it matters until you confront the person in the mirror and say, "This is on me." That moment is brutal. It's meant to be, because it burns away the lie. It strips away the illusion that someone else is responsible for your life. And in the ashes of that illusion, something powerful is born. You realize that if it's on you, it's also within you. The power to change it. The power to rebuild it. The power to rise. Part 7. Earned, not given. Make no mistake, ownership isn't comfortable. It forces you to face the truth. You are exactly where you deserve to be, based on your habits, your discipline, your decisions, and the standards you've either upheld or let slip. No one escapes this law. Life does not negotiate with those who refuse to own their part. It doesn't bend to excuses. It doesn't care about blame. It simply reflects back the sum total of who you've chosen to become. You can fight this truth. You can argue with it. You can resist it. But life won't pause. Life won't soften. Life will simply continue delivering to you exactly what you've earned. And that, believe it or not, is the most empowering realization of all. Because if you don't like where you are, it means you have the power to change it. But only if you accept, fully, completely, and without excuse, that no one is coming. Nothing changes until you do. The world does not hand power to the one who waits. It hands it to the one who takes responsibility. Without complaint, without blame, without hesitation. You are either the architect of your life or its casualty. There is no middle ground. The question is not whether life will challenge you. It's whether you will rise as the one who owns it all. Part 8. The final decision. This is your moment. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Everything you need is already inside you. The strength, the courage, the vision, and the power to change your life completely. But power means nothing until it's backed by a decision to stop playing small, to stop making excuses, to stop handing away your control, your time, and your potential to distractions, to comfort, to fear. Because every day you delay, you drift. Every time you hesitate, you hand your future to someone else. But right now, this very second, you can take it all back. Decide that you're done waiting, done blaming, done living as a shadow of who you could be. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need anyone to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. This is your call to rise. Not someday, but day. Because the truth is simple. No one is coming. Nothing changes until you do. The world belongs to those who claim it. Sitting still, to those who build while others sleep. To those who take full ownership of their path. So we've been so race. Build. Become. The life you want isn't given. It's owned. Part 9. Identity over everything. The reason most people never change. It is because they never change their identity. They try to act differently without becoming someone different. They chase goals with the same mindset that built their limitations. And then they wonder why they keep falling back into the same place. Real change is internal. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. If you still see yourself as weak, you will collapse under pressure. If you still see yourself as a victim, you will find excuses, not solutions. But the moment you redefine your identity, everything changes. When you stop saying, I'm trying to change, and start declaring, this is who I am now. As your habits align, your energy shifts. Your future begins to reshape itself around your decision. You don't rise by doing the same things. You rise by becoming someone new. Someone who no longer negotiates with excuses. Someone who doesn't need motivation because discipline runs the show. Someone who doesn't need to be saved because they've already chosen to lead. Every action you take either confirms your old identity or carves out the new one you're stepping into. The most powerful commitment you'll ever make is the one you make to your future self. So ask yourself, what kind of person creates the life I want? Then become that person. Now, part 10, burn the old map. If you want a new life, you have to stop following the map that led you to the old one. Too many people cling to outdated beliefs, limiting identities, and stories that no longer serve them. Yet wonder why nothing ever changes. Here's the truth. You cannot evolve while protecting who you used to be. You can't step into your future while dragging the weight of your past. At some point, you must decide, do I want comfort or do I want growth? Because you can't have both. Growth demands sacrifice. The sacrifice of old habits, the sacrifice of false safety, the sacrifice of the person you were yesterday for the person you're meant to become. And that means letting go of the excuses you've rehearsed, the fears you've obeyed, the limits you've accepted. Burn the old map, the one that kept you playing small, the one that told you to wait, to doubt, to settle. You're not here to repeat the past. You're here to rewrite it with action, with focus, with fire. This is your defining season, the moment where you stop being a product of your history and start becoming the author of your destiny. And no, it won't be easy, but nothing great ever is. You already know what staying the same feels like. Now it's time to find out what happens when you refuse to go back. Part 11. Step into the fire. There comes a point when you stop preparing and start becoming. No more waiting. No more almost ready. No more hiding behind the fear of failure. You must step into the fire. Not to be destroyed, but to be forged. Everything you want is on the other side of discomfort. Not behind comfort, not behind ease, but behind effort, risk, discipline, and pain. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. It sharpens, it reveals, it purifies. Champions aren't born in comfort zones. They're built under pressure, underway, in silence, when no one is watching. And quitting would be easier than continuing. But you keep going. It's because you've already decided. You've already burned the old map. You've already buried the old identity. Now it's time to prove through action that this new version of you is real. Not just in words, not just in thoughts, but in habits, in choices, in consistency. You don't become unstoppable overnight. You become unstoppable, one decision at a time, by showing up when it's hard, by pushing when it hurts, by moving forward when fear screams at you to stop. This is your training ground. This is where you rise. Part 12. The legacy you build. At the end of it all, what matters isn't how perfectly you lived, but how intentionally you built. Did you show up when it was hard? Did you choose discipline over doubt? Did you rise each time life knocked you down? Because one day all the noise will fade. The opinions, the failures, the applause, gone. And what will remain is the legacy you carved with your choices. You weren't put here just to exist. You were put here to create, to impact, to lead, to build. Your story is being written every moment. Not with words, but with habits. Not with promises, but with persistence. Every day, you decide what kind of life you're building. Are you constructing something strong, something lasting, or just surviving another day? Understand this. Legacy isn't left later, it's built now. In how you live, how you lead, how you show up when no one's watching. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission to rise. You don't need approval to build something extraordinary. You just need to decide that you're done wasting time, done playing small, done negotiating with your own potential. The clock is ticking, and you are either building something that will outlast you or wasting the chance to ever begin. This is your time, not to impress, to impact. Part 13, Rise Beyond Limits. There comes a moment in your journey when you realize the only limits that ever truly existed were the ones you believed in. They weren't real, they were learned, told to you by fear, by failure, by people who gave up on themselves and handed you their doubts as truth. But now you know better. You've seen what happens when you push past the line you once called your breaking point. You've felt the fire that comes when you stop asking for guarantees and start demanding more from yourself. Your limits are not fixed. Your potential is not capped. Your story is not finished. But what stops most people isn't a lack of ability. It's the belief that greatness is reserved for others. But greatness doesn't pick favorites. She picks the relentless. The ones who show up tired. The ones who keep going when no one believes. The ones who aren't afraid to break what's broken inside of them. To rebuild something stronger. You are no longer defined by what has held you back. You are no longer bound by the person you used to be. From this point forward, you rise beyond limits. You rise by choice. You rise by discipline. You rise by fire. Not someday, every day. Part 13. Rise beyond limits. There comes a moment in your journey when you realize the only limits that ever truly existed were the ones you believed in. They weren't real. They were learned, taught to you by fear, by failure, by people who gave up on themselves and handed you their doubts as truth. But now you know better. You've seen what happens when you push past the line you once called your breaking point. You've felt the fire that comes when you stop asking for guarantees. Start demanding more from yourself. Your limits are not fixed. Your potential is not capped. Your story is not finished. What stops most people isn't a lack of ability. It's the belief that greatness is reserved for others. But greatness doesn't pick favorites. It picks the relentless, the ones who show up tired, the ones who keep going when no one believes, the ones who aren't afraid to break what's broken inside of them, to rebuild something stronger. You are no longer defined by what has held you back. You are no longer bound by the person you used to be. From this point forward, you rise beyond limits. You rise by choice. You rise by discipline. You rise by fire. Not someday,